We are here today with Mary and John Stellitano, affectionately known by their family as Mimi and Guy, and we are going to be going through hopefully a good part of their life story as they grew up in Westerly. Before we go any further, I would just like to make this brief little acknowledgement that today is April 23rd, and on May 29th of this year, 2024, this couple in front of us will celebrate their 80th wedding anniversary. So congratulations to them for a wonderful life, and now I'm going to let them get started.
Believe it or not, I have two names. Outside the boundaries of Westerly, I'm addressed as Dr. John B. Stellitano. Within the Westerly area, everybody refers to me as Coach Stellitano. I was born in 1923, and I'm 101 years old today. I was born in Westerly.
Okay. Now a little bit of a difference though. Mimi, you said you were born in Bradford. We believe, we don't have the birth certificate, but we think Guy was born maybe at Westerly Hospital or whatever they had, but where were you born?
At home.
At home. And who delivered you?
Her name's Nancy Capelvo, and she's related to the Morone. She was my mother's aunt, and she was a midwife.
And how many brothers and sisters did you have? How many siblings?
7, beside myself.
Besides yourself, so there were 8.
8.
And were they all born at home?
All at home.
All home births, okay. Did you have any brothers or sisters?
I have one sister. I have one sister who passed away, and but that's the extent of my family.
And what was her name?
Francis.
Can you describe the neighborhood that you grew up in Bradford?
Yes, it was a small town. Everybody knew each other. Everybody was helpful with one another. And they took care. If we were out playing on the streets or something, the neighbors would take us and help us. And they were really good to us. I mean, it was almost like family, from family to family.
Did a lot of people there work in the granite industry?
My grandfather worked there. My father worked there a small length of time. Then he went to the BDA. But it was a close, like one end of the town was all people from England, because it was the mill was run by the English people. And we all got along. We went to one church to the other church. I practically grew up in a Baptist church beside the Catholic church. We all got along together. It was just great. I loved that little town.
Was it a wealthy community?
No. No, it wasn't. We got fish and chips for 10 cents of fish and chips. Mr. Roundtree owned the little shop. And he knew when we went in, everybody had 10 cents, and that's all we paid.
Yeah. And where did you grow up in Westerly?
I grew up in Westerly in the so-called north end of town, comprised mostly of Italian families who had come to this country in the early 1900s and settled in Westerly. And I might add that I was intrigued with Bradford because I was told that the girls in Bradford were cute. And I ended up marrying one of them.
There you go. So, and you lived on Pierce Street, right, which was part of the North End?
Yes, on Pierce Street, North End. Believe it or not, Pierce Street at one time was the highlight of the town. Business people, wealthy, or the so-called wealthy people, resided on Pierce Street. And later on, of course, the identification dissipated and it moved towards more towards Elm Street and towards the beach area.
Now on Pier Street also, the houses were pretty close together. The houses were close together, so you got to know the families. But did you have like little community stores? Do you remember the stores?
Well, it was typical Italian construction, you might say. Everything was like 1 and 2 feet apart, and I imagined in those days, I wasn't around, but I imagined that real estate was at a minimum, and consequently the houses had to be built close together so that all of the families that came in could find a place to live. I can recall that at 76 Pier Street, we had as many as 4 families that resided at 76. My uncle, Judge Trumpetto, former Judge Trumpetto, former town councilman James Cosenza, my uncle, and a host of others. So it was a family situation where families gathered together and took care of each other in the most minimum conditions.
How did you meet?
Well, believe it or not, when we were in high school, I had the pleasure of being one of the stalwarts on the football team, and consequently, I was able to connect with senior feminine, and I had this girl from Bradford carry notes for me to the various girls. And lo and behold, I ended up marrying the note taker, rather.
I was only 14.
You were only 14. You were friends, though. Weren't you friends with Mimi's brother?
Brother, yeah.
Well, her brother, yes. Her brother primarily was the main connection to the family. John D. was a football and baseball player, and we got along well together. Closely, almost as brothers. It was a godsend that led me to meet this young lady in 1940.
Do you know where your parents came from? Did they come from Italy?
My father did. My mother came from Vermont, Barry, Vermont.
Okay. And where did your parents come from?
My mother was born in America. I believe she was born in Westerly. She was one of 3 sisters. And
your father came from?
my dad migrated to America when he was 13 years old, and he came to America, and he came from a province called Acre in Italy, which was sort of a suburb of Calabria.
You said one of the things about growing up, though, that was kind of interesting. You lived in Westerly, and Mimi lived in Bradford, but that you actually lived in Brooklyn for a while?
As I recall it, when I was 3 years old, I was moved to Brooklyn, New York. My dad apparently had some business out in Brooklyn, so that we moved to New York, and I was there for about 5 years, and I found the city life wasn't to my liking, and at great insistence, I had my parents move back to Westerly, and they did so. And we came back to Westerly and spent the rest of our days here in Westerly.
And what did your mom and dad do for work?
You can recall that in the town of Westerly, there were 2 restaurants which were predominantly serving the clientele in Westerly. And my dad ran the so-called Les Rendezvous. It was a place where many of the young people who got married went to my dad and asked for a situation where they would be able to have their wedding at the Rendezvous, and my dad was more than accommodating financially and otherwise to a lot of the young people who lived in Westerly, and of course later on became business people, and for that reason they sort of revered my dad as a guy who helped them out quite a bit. So yes, my mother was the general manager of the Rendezvous. She was a cook. She was order person. She did just about everything. She's a most wonderful support person for my dad to have in the restaurant business. And he held on to that business until 1951. Then he sold it.
What did your parents do for work?
Well, my father, I can remember back, he worked at the quarry a short time, and then most of us were quite grown up then because we were in junior high and high school. He got a job at the BDA, the Bradford Diners Association, and then my mother was able to go to work too, and she got a job there. I worked there for about 6 months after I graduated, because then we got married. They had gardens and things to survive. They weren't making that much money. I think when I started, when I was graduated from high school, I made $13 a week. And that was it. Gave $10 to my mother, and I kept $3 to buy things.
So nowadays, when people do a garden just for extra, you actually not survived, but you had to use a lot of the things in your garden to take care of your family.
Oh yeah, we had a huge garden, and we had chickens, pigs too, I think. My father had them slaughtered. But I mean, we lived basically from the earth to where we were. But we were happy.
I might add too that Papa Joe, as I called him, was a stern disciplinarian, and he took care of his daughters well, and he didn't have to talk much. He just folded his arms, and we got the message time and time again.
Where'd you go to school?
Where did I go to school? At Bradford School, and then from there to the junior high for 1 year, 9th grade. Then we went up to the high school for 3 more years. But we went from there. We took the bus when we went to the junior high, Babcock, and high school.
So in Bradford, they stayed in their school from K to 8. We talked about this because they took down the Bradford school.
Oh, the Bradford school, that was horrible. It's still horrible. Because they could have used it for the elderly. It was one floor. I didn't know what the councilman was thinking of, but it would, but it's the truth. And I mean, and everybody that went to the Bradford school, my mother did until she was in the 8th grade. They had to leave to go to work. But it was a nice school. The teachers were wonderful. I can remember Mrs. Berry, her mother died in the 38 hurricane. But she treated us like we were her children. She always did. My sister Betty was tiny, so every time we got to school, she said, hold on to her so the wind won't blow her away. I mean, she knew all the children in the school.
You had mentioned, which I thought was a nice memory, and I'll get back to your school too, Guy, but when you were talking about Mr. Knight.
Oh, Mr. Knight, yeah, he was my teacher. And I was in the 7th grade, I guess. And then he would take our class and go for hikes up to Big Hill in Bradford and different places like that, which was wonderful. And then we stopped at his house because he lived on the Westerly Bradford Road. And his wife would bring out cookies and soda or milk, I don't remember. But yeah, they were very nice. He was really great. I don't know whatever happened to him.
I was subjected to 2 transitions during my early school days. I started at the High Street School elementary school, and we then moved to Babcock Junior High School. But before the Babcock Junior High School, we moved from the High Street School over to Pleasant Street School, which is now the Calabrese Club. But that used to be the elementary school, the second one in Westerly. And then from the elementary school, we went to Babcock Junior High. And from Babcock, we went into the high school. I think it was in 1937, we moved again into the new high school. And that's the one that's there now. And we missed that school that was in downtown Westerly, across from Mohegan's Market, right next to the library. So
that high school closed before you got to the high school.
I'm told by former students who went to the high school in town that it was a pleasure to go there because it could skip out and get goodies day after day. And it was much more difficult to do that from Warren Avenue.
Who were the teachers that you enjoyed in the high school? You had mentioned a math teacher.
I guess the teacher that I looked up to mostly was Miss Matteries, who was our math teacher. She was an excellent teacher. She knew the human side of mathematics, as well as the technical side. She was just a person who encouraged you time and time again to do the best you could, and she was the one that I felt was outstanding, as well as in the science endeavor. Robert Mudge, my biology teacher, was just a tremendous mentor, both from a standpoint of the athletic program and from the academic program. I do owe a lot to this man.
What kind of activities were you involved with, say, out of school and in school?
We had afternoon soccer, field hockey, and I don't think we ever played basketball, but it was outdoor sports all the time. And then I would when I worked, I'd come home at night and pick you 3 kids up, and we'd go skating down the park in the wintertime. And that was great. We all went skating. My father was a great guy. He used to bring us up to the pond, Ladone's Pond, and we'd go ice skating or sledding. And we did roller skating on the road. There weren't that many cars, so we roller skated a lot right on the road, and played tag and other stuff like that. But we all got along. I mean, we would eat at different people's houses, or they would eat at our place, and it was great.
What did you do when you were younger?
Well, my career started early in life. I can recall getting involved with football, and we played our games in the yard of an old timer called Buff Mr. Murray, who used to run the Red Fox wholesale soda place, and he had an area adjacent to the building where we as youngsters went, and we used to go there 8 o'clock in the morning and play football all day long until 6 o'clock at night when we had to go home for supper. That was the start of my athletic career. And then from there, of course, we went into junior high school, and I can recall that these days were days of enlightenment only because of our gym teacher. I respectfully refer to him as Tin Horn Mitchell, Ray Mitchell. Was just a tremendous person, a tremendous teacher, And the 3 years of junior high school were thoroughly enjoyed by all of the young men who came under his tutelage. Ray Mitchell was a fine man. And then from there, I moved into the high school, and I got involved with the 3 sports, football, basketball, and baseball. And my mentor in high school, of course, was Bobby Mudge. Mudge was himself a famous Westerly High School graduate, and later became a teacher at the high school, and he was a great supporter of all of us athletes trying to better ourselves by looking forward to maybe getting into some college. We used to have a team from Pear Street, and we used to play the Trebizaccis, who lived up on the hill on Mountain Avenue, I believe it was called. And we'd meet each other, say, at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we'd play football all day long and try to beat the heck out of one another. The scores were something like 150 to 160, but we wouldn't give up until it got dark. And I can recall very vividly all of the fine times we had in competition with the Mount Avenue gang.
It's so different when you talk to women in sports and you see all of the things that are going on now, like with the Yukon girls and everything else, and how the women's sports has grown. But when you were in high school,
no, there wasn't anything there. There was one girl I remember, and her father was well known. Her name was Jean Graham, and she was a good athlete. She had 4 brothers, and she was the only girl. But she was a very good athlete. And then when she graduated, the same time I did, she had to go to work for 2 years before she could go to college, because her family wasn't making that much money either. But she worked in the BDA for 2 years. Then she went to a school in Massachusetts. And then she made their team playing field hockey. And she traveled to Africa and different places. Yeah, the school at that time. And we were all surprised because we all knew Jean. She was really good. She was a pretty girl, very pretty girl.
You know, I might add too that speaking of the Grahams, one of the most famous athletes that came out of Worcester High School was Babe Graham, who played first base. I was a tremendous athlete. Then he went on to University of Rhode Island and made a name for himself. And he spent the rest of his adult life working for the George C. Moore Company as an administrator.
Before we get to the hurricane of '38, do you remember anything? I know that you were very young, but do you remember anything about the Depression era or not?
Oh, yes. I remember the Depression. We lost our house. And I've never said that, but we lost our house, moved in with our grandparents during the Depression. And then in '38, when the storm came, because the only thing we had, I think, was a small radio, and my father was working at the BDA, and my mother was home at the time with us, and she thought it was the end of the world. She really did. She kept us in the living room. We couldn't move from there. And she saw big pine trees being uprooted. And she figured, this is the end of the world, because she had never heard of a hurricane. And my father couldn't leave the BDA because it was too dangerous for them all to leave. So then when it calmed down, it only lasted about, I would say, 3 hours. Well, it was so bad, blowing and everything else. And then, because when we came home from school, we were walking, we had to walk for every place. Her cousin picked us up, all the children he could fit in the car, and I'd go back and pick more up. Because he thought, too, it was the end of the world. His is the only house that stood, if anybody knows Atlantic Avenue, that stayed upright. Pucci, his last name was Pucci. him and his sister-in-law, because she worked as a waitress in his barroom, they had enough sense to knock all the windows out so the water would go right through. It was a two-story place. They were up on the second floor. Everybody thought they were gone like everybody else, but they survived.
What was the beach like in those days before the hurricane?
To me, it was a big hill. We'd have to run up the hill and down, and the water was there, the houses. It was nice, but we only got there a few times when people would take us in their cars. Yeah, in fact, my principal's mother died during the hurricane. She was at some function at the beach, Mrs. Berry.
There was a hurricane, believe it or not, back in around 1815, which hit the Squamicut area, and at that time they were all farmlands, not beach lights as we see them today. And it was very devastating, and it destroyed a great deal of the land in that area. And the people just assumed that it was what they called a nor'easter, and they kind of adjusted to it. And in 1938, the people who lived during that era really had no inclination at all that it was a hurricane per se. They felt it was another nor'easter that had come into town, and the only incident that goes through my mind was that it was on a Wednesday, and it was late afternoon, and we were excited about the fact that the wind was blowing, and we had heard that the water at Squamicut was, the waves were getting big, so we wanted to go down. And the only one that could drive in the family was the judge, Judge Trumpetto. So we tried to talk him into going down, and we got as far as the door, and my grandmother took the keys away from the judge and says, "No way are you going to go near the water." And believe it or not, I think it was between 4 and 6 when the tidal wave hit Miss Squamicut. And the timing was such that had we gone down, we might have been caught in the surf, which later came into so. But all this business of devastation and flooding was new, I think, to the people who lived at that time. We later then became acquainted with what a hurricane was.
So how did you come across the house that you have now in the Squamicut?
He was working up in Providence when he graduated from college. And I used to take the kids down all the time to the beach. And he knew how much we liked it. So he thought it was a good buy. It was only how much did you pay for that house?
I had purchased a couple of lots in Charlestown from a family that one of the teachers worked with us at my stay at Lockwood High School. And so we built a small cottage in Charlestown, and we moved in August, and we were in the process of moving all of our furniture, etc., into this new cottage. And lo and behold, we had a hurricane in August. And much of the material that we had in the cellar, we didn't even unpack. It got flooded. And so it kind of discouraged us. And I said to her, we're going to move to Westerly and move out of Charlestown. And I moved into Westerly, and a friend of mine, Frank Samataro, worked for Stanton Turnover Real Estate. And I said to Frank, I said, "Frank, if you ever find a cottage in Miss Squamicut that you can seal," I says, "call me up and let me know, because I want to buy one." And lo and behold, it was about 3 days later, Frank called me up and said, "John, I have a good buy for you. There's a fellow that wants to sell. He needs the money. and it's 466 Atlantic Avenue. He says he wants 12.5 for it. So I went to the gentleman, and we met, and we had a very cordial meeting. And I said to the fellow, I said, look, I said, I'm a school teacher. I says, I've saved up $7,500 so that I could buy a cottage. I said, it's all the money I have, I'll give it to you. He took it right away, because I didn't know that he needed the money. But he took it, he accepted it, and believe it or not, I paid $7,500 for my college in 1969. And as Larry, you would appreciate this, today is valued at around $550,000. So times and finances do change.
It's interesting that you brought up, because I was going to ask you about that, because everybody always talks about the hurricane of '38, but I can remember growing up, especially because of what happened with the house down in Charleston, and you always saying that everything was floating when you went down there, including all the soupies or whatever that you had. But you were working at Plaques, which became Monsanto. Do you have a recollection of what happened that day? Because the '54 hurricane was pretty bad too.
At Plaques?
Yeah.
Yes, because Uncle Dick worked there too, and he came from Stonington. Dick Sylvia, that's his uncle. And where my department was, he came down and he said, Mary, we're going home. He says, there's a hurricane coming. Our foreman said, no, you're not going home, because it's not going to even hit us. He said, look, I live right across the street from Plaques. It was, before Plaques, it was something else, the name. And Uncle Dick worked there. And he said, I've lived here all my life. He said, I'm Portuguese, I lived here. He said, I know what a storm can do. So he said, Mary, we're going home. So Florence Starr and I got into the car, because I used to ride with her. And we left. And the water was about that high on the roads then. So thank goodness we left. We left with him. We followed him. And home, and we were lucky. We didn't go back to work for a couple of weeks, because everything was on the road, because the hurricane hit. It was horrible.
Yeah, I was the strong one. I stayed in Charleston,
Yeah, that's right.
and I didn't know that it was a hurricane. I knew that it was windy and it was raining, and I said to her, I said, I'm going to stay here in Charleston, take care of the cars and so forth. And I'll never forget it. There was a roof coming at me from the ocean, and it came right towards the living room. And I was by the window looking out at this roof that was coming right to my house. And we had a thin pole which had a nightlight on it that was stuck in the front yard. And that roof came and hit that pole, and lo and behold, it stopped that roof only about 20 or 25 feet away from my picture window. So I was very, very, very lucky in that. And then to bring the story to some closure, I said I have to save the cars. So I took the first car and drove it up to the high ground, came back, and my dad had left his car on the road down below. And I went and I said, well, I'll go and try to start it and get that car away. And I got in the car, and I completely ignored that the ocean surf was coming in. And it came up to about the front of the running board of the car, and I tried to open the door, and I almost couldn't open it. So I jumped out of the car, I left the car there, and I ran up to the high ground myself, and the water came in up to the house, up to the first floor level, and that's where it stayed. But we lost my dad's car in that hurricane. I recall we were sitting in the living room listening to a speech that President Roosevelt gave, And it was so inspiring and so to the point that the United States was in trouble and he needed help and he was going to gain, you know, the famous phrase, the inevitable victory. And that inspired a lot of my fraternity brothers and myself to enlist. And I joined the Air Force at the end of my freshman year. And I entered the service, the Air Force training in 1942. And I served for 3 years.
You went into the Air Force. What made you go into the Air Force?
Well, I had had previous experience when my dad owned the Rendezvous back in the 30s. One of the fellows that came a patron, owned a seaplane, and he rode that seaplane on the pond, Burden's Pond, and I got to acquainted with him and enjoy some of the rides, and I became interested in airplanes. And when I went to the university, I had enrolled in aeronautical engineering. So this was my start, and the logical place for me to be was in the Air Force. I don't believe I would have been successful at all as an infantryman. I hate walking. So I think they would have had trouble with me in terms of not so much that I wouldn't want to fight, but that I just didn't want to walk those miles that those two poor infantry people had to walk. When I went in, it was the Army Air Corps. I had a serial number which was attributed to the Air Corps, and then halfway through the war, I guess, there was a transfer, and it became the United States Air Force. So that, again, they gave me another number, and I had two serial numbers rather than one. This caused me some problems when I wanted to retire from teaching because they didn't know which number to take. But anyway, it was an interesting experience for the 3 years that I was away from home. I went in 42, and we went to the railroad station, and my family came with me, and we said all the goodbyes, and everybody was crying, and I got on the train, and I waved goodbye, and I went to Providence. When I went into this area, reception area, they said, things have been postponed a week, go back home, you can stay another week home. So I came home, and everybody was surprised to see me home. So they said, come back a second time. I went back a second time, and again we repeated the scene of goodbyes and cries and so forth, and everybody was waving. So I went to Providence the second time. Well, would you believe it? The second time, the sergeant said to me, John, he said, you got to go home. We're not ready for you yet. So I came home on the third time. Well, my people by this time were totally surprised. And I got ready for the third time to go. Well, the third time to go, there wasn't the friendly goodbyes. It was this, you know, all right, we had enough. So the third time, I was lucky, and they kept me. And when I got to Providence, you'll enjoy this. I went into the building, and the sergeant took my name. He says, go in that room, he says, and read the chart. I went in there, and there was a chart that was as big as a wall, and there was a big E on there. And I said, well, that's E. He said, good, you passed. So go to the next one. I went to the next building, and the guy said, okay, he said, bend over. He said, let me take a look at you. I bent over, he said, you're okay. He said, go to the next building. So I went to the next one, and he said, how do you feel? I said, I feel great. He said, good. He said, you passed. So I went to the sergeant. I said, you know, Sergeant, I said, I'm surprised. I said, I thought the Air Force was more stringent with Air Force. He says, what building did you go in? I said, I went into this building. He says, you went into the infantry building. So he corrected me, and I went to the Air Force building, and of course the evaluation was far more stringent than what I had gone through with the infantry. So I tell you, I really felt bad for those infantry people who got examined.
Where did you go for your training? What was involved in your training?
I started out at Fort Devens, from Fort Devens, and went into Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Eau Claire, Wisconsin, went out to Santa Clara, California, and then from there I went to Pecos, Texas. And I transferred from single engine to multi-engine, and then into heavy bombardment. So I guess during the course of my training, which took upwards of almost 2 years, I went in 42, and I didn't go into combat until 1944. So I might say that the United States did a wonderful job of training before they sent us into combat. B-17G was a wonderful airplane, and it took us through 36 missions over Germany.
What was it supposed to be? Didn't they have a cutoff at 20 missions you're supposed to go home?
It started off at 15. If you in the early part of the war, if you got 15 missions, you were terribly lucky to come home. Then it went up to 25, and then it went to 35, and any extras that you flew. So we got to fly 35 missions, and then I had to fly one extra one with a new crew, and it gave me 36, gave me an extra mission. And my total points piled up to 85. And then they gave us the opportunity either to go on to Nebraska and train in B-29s, because the war in Japan wasn't over yet, or you could take the 85 points and go home. Guess which one I chose? 85 points, and I went back to Westerly.
When you got shot down?
Well, it was a matter of routine. We had gone to a target called Leipzig. During the course of the bombing run and then the turnaround, we lost 3 engines. Our number 1 engine, our number 3 engine, our number 4 engine. The only engine we had running was the inboard. So coming home, we ran into weather, and we couldn't see outside. It was like fog, but it was cloudy. And we had about, I think it was 57 inches of manifold pressure. That engine was getting ready to blow, and we would have been without power at all. So we decided, should we bail out, or should we stay with the plane? Well, to tell you the truth, I was for staying with the plane because I didn't trust. I was afraid to use a parachute. I didn't trust him. I didn't think it was going to open. So we decided we're going to stay with the plane. At 600 feet, we were lucky. We broke out of the cloud coverage, and we went down, and we were losing altitude, and we saw what appeared to be a farmer's land, and we went in and we did a wheels-up landing, and we were lucky enough not to have the plane disintegrate, and none of us got a scratch, but we hit the ground going 114 miles an hour with wheels up. And we were lucky. It was 15 miles outside of the lines, believe it or not. Had we bailed out, I think we would have been prisoners of war, very definitely. The battle line was 15 miles inside. It was a little town called Rockroy. I'm not pronouncing it for perhaps, but it was a little town called Rockroy. And the most amazing thing about my experience with that whole landing situation was that the military police told us in this little town, if we were going to go out and eat in one of the restaurants in the town, be sure and wear your pistols, because the town wasn't friendly at all to American personnel. They loved the Germans. They called the Bosch. They loved the Bosch. So we had to be careful, and we had to, pull out. We were in that little town for 2 weeks while we got another airplane to go back to our base. Most, it was very interesting. But it was a routine, as far as we were concerned, it was just a routine thing. We went back to the base and completed our missions. Thanking the good Lord. I can recall that date vividly when somebody asked me about my daughter's birth. I tied the two together, our landing and the birth of my daughter. So it was an eventful week for me as a new father and as a lucky guy who was part of a forced crash landing and getting out of it alive.
When he first went for training, you were still home, and you said you had worked at the BDA, and I remember you saying something about when you talk about people helping out during the war. The BDA actually had just made fabric, but what were they doing during the wartime?
Oh, parachute material and the Army material.
When did you decide to get married? Because at first, when he was first training, you hadn't gotten married, but you got married before he went overseas?
Oh yes, we got married when he got his wings, came home. We didn't know if we were going to get married Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. It was Monday. We got married on Monday. We went to Arizona 2 days later.
That was most amusing. As I understand it, my sister-in-law told me this story, that while she was walking down the aisle, her father was trying to talk her out of not getting married. So you still have time to change your mind.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I think his reasoning was reasonable in that there were so many young people that were getting killed that to get married and then lose your husband. He was a wise man, and he was just trying to point out to her what she might be up against. And as the good Lord would have it, I was able to come home after losing 25,000 of my fellow air people. It was very sad. We lost a lot of guys. If I may inject, the early part of the war, as far as the Air Force was concerned, was very, very devastating. It was very dangerous. The B-17s would fly in at an altitude of 12,000 feet, and they would be knocked out of the sky like clay pigeons. And so from 42 and 43, in the early part of 44, that was a dangerous part of the air war. The second phase was from December of 44 to the end of the war in April. And at this time, we had picked up fighter escort. We had P-51s who followed us to the target. And when we dropped our bombs, the P-51s would take us home. So we were very fortunate in the second phase of the war to do our thing and have the protection that we had. So I felt sad for the first phase, and I'm very happy about the second phase that we were able, to come home all in one piece.
So talking a little bit now past military and going into like careers, where did you work after?
I worked at Plaques, then I went to Pfizer. No, because I was working at Plaques, but they were going to leave Stonington. So they're moving everybody back. They laid off a lot of the people. I was the fourth one that's going to stay on days for the women. And so they said I had to go back in second shift. And of course, you kids were all in high school. Sharon was in college at the time. And I said, no, I can't be away from the house because he's always up at the high school with sports and stuff. I needed to be there with the kids. So I went to put in an application at EB, and I put one in at Pfizer's. And the minute I hit Pfizer's, I knew that's where I wanted to work, if I could. Well, Dr. Bloom was the head one, the big president. And he said he'd take and interview me. So he asked me different questions. And I said, I know nothing about chemistry. I said, I'll tell you that right up front. I know nothing about chemistry. I said, let alone not being able to spell some of the words, or I have never heard of some of the words. So he said to me, yeah, well, what did they think at Plex? And I said, I don't know. I have to call them, I guess, and ask them, because that was on a Thursday or Friday. And so he did. He called Mr. Cheesebro from thing. And he said, if Mary's there, hire her. She's a good worker. And so I accepted a job, went for my physical and everything that Wednesday and started to work.
The interesting point about the job that you had at Pfizer, we now have laptops and we can communicate with people all over the world. But you were the only one at Pfizer's that did what?
That's when they first had computers. And I don't know if you fellows knew. The computers were from that wall to this wall. They were big monstrosities. And we had to do key punching. We had to have someone key punch all the cards so we could put them through. And well, they sent me to school anyway to learn the computers with my boss, Nate Belcher. He was a great guy. And we worked together until I left. But I learned the computers, and I helped the other girls key punch the cards so that we could do them. And they weren't supposed to hire me because I had a brother that was the head one of the pharmacy. And anybody that had ability to hire someone from outside, they figured if Nate Belcher hired me, I could say, I want to work for my brother. He's going to give me a $10 raise or something, you know, not knowing anything. But we never did that. And so Dr. Bloom said, I'm breaking that precedent now. He said, we hire anybody we want to hire, because they were having a hard time hiring people. But it was a great place. I loved the place. I would have gone back to work if I had to there, to send private stuff to England, to Italy, to Japan. And quite a few of the doctors that went over to China and Japan, they always brought me gifts.
So you ended up going really into technology, and what did you do for your career?
I graduated high school with the help of my teachers, and I went to the University of Rhode Island and then into the military for 3 years. And when I came out, my first job was at the Lockwood High School in Warwick, Rhode Island. I spent 5 years in Warwick, and then I went on to take the job in Westerly as teacher basketball coach. And then I went on into administration in Connecticut, in Fairfield. And I spent the last 22 years of my educational career in Fairfield. I spent a total of 41 years in education. And I might say that the happiest years of my educational life I spent were in Westerly for many reasons. One of them was that I enjoyed living with two families. I had my family, my wife and children, and then I had my G-boys, a group of younger men at the high school level who just felt that high school education wasn't for them at the time, and consequently they did as little as possible with my help. The G-Boys became my second family. It was just unbelievable that I would spend that amount of time, but I felt that my best reason for being in education was to help the kids out that needed help, and I chose to be a teacher and later on to be an administrator.
But did that extend into coaching too? I know that the G-Boys were very special to you, but didn't that same kind of connection go to you and your players too when you coached?
10 of the best years that the high school enjoyed in terms of talent that performed during those years as the basketball teams. All the accolades that are brought forward about Westerly High School basketball, it can be attributed to these fine young men who performed on the basketball floor for me. And it was just an enjoyable ride for 11 years where we enjoyed winning a state championship 4 times and winning the Class A championship 8 consecutive years. And this can all be attributed, as I said, to the fine talent that I had. And I think the most enjoyable statement that was ever made was made by the state of Maine when we went up to play them in a basketball game. And we ended up beating them in the last quarter. And the officials in the state of Maine said that Westerly High School can well be the ambassadors of Rhode Island basketball. That to me was the epitome of success. And I was happy for my kids that they would be looked upon as ambassadors.
You know, just to add to that, knowing you, I think, very well, you were more than a coach and a teacher. You really were family to these young, impressionable people. I was one of them, young people too. You were more than just a coach, and you were more than a teacher, and that's why I think you loved it as much as you did love it.
You have to look at the history of basketball in Westerly. I don't like to get onto that subject, but prior to, my predecessor was a phenomenal coach, Jim Federico, and he had three state championships and a number of Class B championships. I played on one of those in 1940, 41, and 42. So I know what transpired during that period of time. The success has to be attributed again to the run of talent that we had during Jimmy's tenure and during my tenure. Then after that, of course, the talent began to dwindle a bit, and we weren't as successful as we might have been as we were during those few years. It was the thing that I pull out of it for the town of Westerly was that during those 10 years, the town of Westerly seemed to synthesize, and they joined forces, and every game we had sellouts at our crowds. And when we went to the New England tournament in Boston, the town of Westerly showed up, upwards of 5,000 people turned out to see our kids play at the Boston Garden in Boston. That to me was heartwarming to see the town get behind the kids the way they did. And for 10 years, Westerly really enjoyed, the people in Westerly enjoyed the performances of our kids. And for that, I'm thankful.
You have 3 children, 7 grandchildren, 17 great-grandchildren. When you look at the family right now, what are some of the traditions that we still take part in or that you like to take part in with the kids?
I like when their birthdays, I can see them all. And when they come down to the beach, it's really something nice for them to do.
You know, let me say, Winston Churchill was asked a question, and it went something like this: what is the greatest achievement that you feel you had over the past years of your life? I like to answer much in the same vein as Winston Churchill did, and say that the greatest achievement in my career was to be able to convince her father that she should marry me. And for that, you look forward to having someone pick up the reins and establish a relationship between family members so that everything is compatible. And I can only say that I thank the Lord that I have my wife who serves in that capacity as the coordinator for our family in being together as a happy and productive family in the town of Westerly.
What's one of your favorite things in Westerly?
I have to say that my beach house is close to my heart. I begin to live, and I hope I'll die in Miss Groninger.
Oh, the library and the park. I love the library and I like the park. I like to read. And I have a girl that brings me books from the library and stuff. The park is where I enjoyed the 3 of you when we used to go skating after I'd come home from work. We'd go skating there, and then we'd go have hot chocolate at, I think it was Marone's little diner across the street. Then we'd go home and have dinner. But it was beautiful, I thought. The park was great. The kids waited for me to come home from work.